Hi everyone, there I am, Matthew Archambault from drawingtutorialsonline.com. This is a new podcast number 19. And what is this podcast number 19 all about? Well, I'm trying something a little bit different here for you guys. I spread the video up about 140% from its original version, and I just finished up uploading a how to draw glass tutorial to drawingtutorialsonline.com. It's a two-parter. There's 7 chapters in each part. And I just want to share with you guys a couple tips here in this podcast number 19. Basically, I'm starting this drawing right now, and I'm drawing really, really slow. Like I said, this thing is sped up, so it looks like I'm drawing fast. But when you're drawing a glass like this, I think that the thing that a lot of people get caught up with is details first. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of trying to get the basic shape of it in before I get into any of the details. And basically, you got to have some pretty good eye-hand coordination to do this. What you want to do when you're starting to draw a very complicated glass like this is you want to block out the big shapes that you see, and you want to try to simplify the shapes. So the first shape is the actual glass itself. And then the second shape is the bottom thickness of the glass. It's about 3/4 of an inch thick. And then inside that glass is coffee. So what I try to do is number one, get the shape of the glass. Number two, get the bottom of the glass in that 3/4 of an inch high piece of thick glass. And then I get the coffee. And then I look at the shapes up above in the translucent section. And those shapes, I try to simplify them. The shape on the right is a dark shape. Shape in the middle is a dark shape. And then we have a highlight section and then another highlight section. I'll map them out for you in a second in another part of this video. But what you want to do is keep your pencil on the page for as long as you possibly can. And look at the glass about 50 to 60% of the time. Don't look too much at your drawing, and don't look too much at each individual highlight. Yeah, that's the candy. We all want to get to the candy, but we want to just, take our time first and block in some major shapes. I mean, all those little highlights in the glass are subservient to the big shapes of, a middle tone or a dark or a light. That's another thing that you guys should do if you're going to do a still life like this. If you're going to draw a still life, I uploaded a few photos for people, members of drawingtutorialsonline.com to draw from. And basically what I told them to do is to look at the glass this way. Look at it as shape number 1, shape number 2, shape number 3, like 4, 5, and 6. And each one of those shapes should have a major value to it. Now, there could be a lot more shapes than this, or there can be a lot less shapes than this. But this is the first part of this tutorial is looking for these basic shapes. And then once you draw the basic shapes, and I don't know, it depends on how long you want to spend on the drawing. Maybe you want to spend like an hour, maybe you want to spend 3 hours, maybe you want to spend 6 hours. Once you draw those shapes, then what you've got to do is start to match the values of those basic shapes. Don't get into the individual, okay, here's a highlight, here's another little highlight. Get into the big basic shapes of value, okay? Now, one of the big things that I talk about with how to draw glass is how do you get those reflections and how do you get things to look really shiny and highlights versus, a matte surface. And it's a 14 chapter, 4.5 hour video tutorial. And I get into all that. There's just not enough time in this short podcast to get into that. But if I can give you a simple, idea to go on in this podcast is that you guys got to, most of the drawing tutorial was eliminating white paper. We use a blend and stump. We use, a couple brushes. You got to get rid of most of the white paper because you want to use your white highlights sparingly. And the least amount of highlight is going to show a lot of reflection. The other thing that you want to take into consideration when you're drawing glass is you really want to put some severe value contrast somewhere in the glass. Like you want to put a white highlight next to your darkest dark. And I think that really adds to the shininess and the reflectiveness of the glass itself. I mean, we juxtapose the glass against that dull, excuse me, pine table, and the pine table is really not that shiny, and the glass is really shiny. So we're trying to show how you do that. And I just told you how you do that. You put the dark against the light, you eliminate a lot of white paper, and you save your brightest brights for the highlights on the glass. Okay, so I just wanted to share this with you. This is a tutorial that people have been asking me for a long time. Matt, can you get away from bodies? Can you get away from anatomy? Can you show us how to draw glass? And I finally did it. I finally just uploaded part 2 for the long Memorial Day weekend. Maybe you want to watch a little bit, draw a little bit on your time off. And yeah, so that's where we're at. I'm going to actually be doing a long painting of this over at paintingtutorialsonline.com. That I'm going to start after the Memorial Day weekend, but I just want to throw this up here for you guys. So maybe you want to set up your own glass still life this weekend and give it a go and try to draw something different. All right, so that's it for this short podcast, and I will see you guys soon. If you want to leave a comment, visit Drawing Tutorials Online blog, and I will see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.